California mom Hiedi Johnston and her family were running errands when, out of nowhere, Heidi sees a truck launch over the pier, diving headfirst into the cold, murky waters of Humboldt Bay. The truck was quickly going underwater with the driver inside.
We threw open the doors and just started running out of the truck, and I ran into the water as fast as I could, and I took about 10 steps, and the water was chest high. And I knew at that point it'd be more efficient to swim, and so I started swimming. And I knew I couldn't let him die this way.
While treading water, Heidi tried desperately to open the door. Somehow, miraculously, the window rolled down.
All of a sudden, the water just started rushing into the car, and I grabbed a hold of him by the front of his vest, and I just twisted and just pulled him out the window. I was treading water, holding him up, and then the truck submerged, and you could feel it, the current sucking down on me.
And just as the truck sank, she sees a boat. Heidi will be honored with a Carnegie Medal, which honors people who perform extraordinary acts of heroism for saving the life of Erac Floyd. Hiedi Johnston is here with us. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks, everybody.
I mean, what you did for Erac Floyd is absolutely incredible. Let me start. When you said, I have to do something, what was going through your mind?
Well, you know, when we first heard the noise and in the truck engine was just winding. I mean, it sounded like somebody was going so fast. And it was crazy because we were in like a parking lot area, and I was like, who would be driving this fast? And I never saw the truck leave the land. I only saw it in the air, and it was just sailing. And there's like a little pier, like an old pier dock, and it cleared it somehow. I don't even know how it cleared it. And then it crashed into the water, and then the water just exploded off of its windshield. And I could see Erac, of course, I didn't know his name at the time, but he was sitting in there, and he was just looking straight ahead, completely still. But you could tell, you know, like he was conscious, but it was like, what is he doing, and why is he not getting out? And people were yelling, and it was like, oh, this would be a horrible way to die. He cannot die this way.
It's remarkable you had the presence to process all of that. I mean, you are seeing the splash, and you can see him clearly. Yeah. Did it feel, I don't like the term, it feels like a movie, but did it seem like, this isn't really, is this really happening?
Well, yeah, because you don't expect to see a truck in the bay.
Right.
But it was like,
there's that.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? And it just felt like, I don't know. I believe it was a God thing, and that's why I tell everyone, because we were in the right place at the right time. I had no fear whatsoever.
How is that possible that you didn't have fear?
I had no fear.
No fear?
No fear.
Wow.
I think part of it was I was born and raised near a river, and my mom taught us how to swim from a really young age and taught us about currents. And
so you were able to process all that? Because I think, listen, there's one thing your mom to teach you to swim in a pool.
Yeah.
Now, or even a lake.
Right.
But you have a sinking vehicle with someone inside. I don't know what I would have done. I'd like to believe that I would jump in.
I think you would have. I do. You know, there were quite a few people, but I just know that once people processed it, they probably all would have jumped in. But I just saw it. I do have a fear of crashing into the Trinity River. So we live in a rural area, and so you drive along the Trinity River every day. And I've always had a fear, like, what would happen if our car went into that river?
So you thought about yourself in that situation?
Yes. Well, it would be a horrible way to die. And I've always thought that. Like, if our car went into the Trinity River, how would I get out? And I've processed that. How would I get out of that car? Of course, I didn't have any way to break into the car at the time. And
what were you wearing? What did you just jumped?
I wore everything I had. I had my shoes on. I had my keys in my pocket. But for some reason, my wallet wasn't in there, or my phone. But I wouldn't have known if it was or wasn't because we just took off, and we did. My daughter Tess and I, we looked for a rock because I could see that the window was open. And people were yelling at him, get out, get out, get out. But he just kept looking straight ahead. And we looked for a rock for just, a few short seconds, but we realized we weren't going to find a rock.
When you see the visual of it, the vehicle, you know that the water is going in and the car is sinking. Were you ever worried, even with your training, that you would be pulled down too, or that you were putting your own life in danger to save him?
I didn't think about it. Wow. Not at all.
And, it is incredible to hear this story. We left off, you were there in the water, you're getting him out, and then you see this boat. What role did that boat play in the rescue?
After I was able to get him out of the car, it sank, and then I couldn't see the car, after it sank, but I moved a little bit, I was treading water, and then I could feel it with my feet. And then I wedged my foot by the windshield wiper, and I was able just to stay there for a little while because I thought, I don't know that I can make it back to shore with him.
Wow.
And then the Good Samaritan came, and then that's when Patrick, he just came hauling the mail. He was going so fast. And I thought it was a Coast Guard boat at first because it looked like a Coast Guard boat. It was kind of orange. And as it was coming, he was going so fast. I thought, I hope there's no propellers on that boat. I hope there's no propellers on that boat. So I probably just watched too many scary movies. But anyways, I did not want a propeller boat coming near me. But he just brought it right in, right over the top. Once you got onto the truck, you could see it. But he threw a rope over the edge, and I was able to climb up on the hood of the truck at that point, hang on. So he made it so much easier. Wow. We weren't in the water very long because he came and basically rescued us.
I should point out to the audience that you were nominated for the honor that you're about to receive, a Carnegie Medal, by one of the daughters of the man that Heidi rescued. Sadly, 7 months after you rescued Eric Floyd, he passed away from an unrelated medical condition. But what Heidi didn't know was that she didn't just save Eric's life that day, she also helped save his family.
Thank you, Heidi, for the closure you were able to bring our family. Because of you, we got to spend his last few months together.
We really enjoyed that last time together, so we're really thankful for you, and you're a hero.
Anyone that knows my father knows that he led a pretty colorful life. We'll never be able to find the words to thank you. Your selfless act allowed us to really have conversations in those last few months. He was very proud of all of his children and all of his grandchildren. It gave his family the opportunity to receive that from him, to give us closure in his passing.
You gave him hope and humanity. You gave him faith that people do good deeds with strangers, to strangers, for strangers. Thank you very much. We love you.
Eric's daughter, Tracy, joins us from Arizona. Tracy, thank you so much for being with us. And obviously, our thoughts are with you and your family. It's interesting because you had to find Heidi and you and your family. And as I understand, pretty much she was being identified as the lady in the pink sweatshirt. And that your sister, Tara, went on social media to find her. What was it like when you and then the family were able to identify this Good Samaritan in the pink sweatshirt?
So it was an interesting kind of way it all played out is that there was an article that was sent to us that said, here's an article about your dad. And in there, they kept referring to the lady in pink. And so we were trying to figure out who it was. And so my sister Tara and I had both left comments in the article, like in the comment area in the article. And by way of that, the gal that wrote the article was able to make the connection between the two of us and allow us to meet Heidi, and allowed my sister and some of my family to meet her. Unfortunately, I have not met her personally, but I'm super happy to be here right now so that I can.
Well, this counts as meeting these days, so I'm happy to have you.
Hello.
Both here. I know, Tracy, losing your father after that and hearing your family members talk about, you didn't know how much time you had left with him. and that you were given this opportunity to spend it with him in his last days because of her. How do you explain that gratitude, that feeling?
So it's, you know, we all hope and wish that for our families that we have the opportunity to have closure and to resolve old issues or say things that we want to say. And I think that we all too often take for granted that ability. And we, you know, keep thinking that tomorrow's a given and it'll be tomorrow that I'll do it all tomorrow. You know, the way that Heidi reacted and her quick, selfless actions made us open our eyes as a family to be able to say some things that needed to be said and to rekindle some relationships that needed to be rekindled and to really spend time knowing that every single moment of that time was borrowed time and it was given to us only through Heidi and her family and the gentleman, Patrick. Excuse me, I'm a little choked up. You know, I thought I was prepared for that day to come. You know, he was older and you know, it's a natural progression of things, but the ability to have that extra time knowing that it was given to us, like it was a gift. And, you know, we moved my dad from California back to Arizona where he was able to live around his family, which hadn't happened in many, many years. He was a mountain man, lived up in the mountains in, you know, outside of Eureka. And so all I can say, Heidi, is thank you, you know, from the bottom of my heart. And I wish there were words that could convey the level of love and closure and all those beautiful things that we all hope and pray that we get. You allowed our family to have that. So I just really thank you.
You're welcome.